everybody. Welcome to our live Q&A. I almost said our Wednesday night live Q&A, but we are doing this on Saturday this week. So welcome. I hope we have a lot of people today asking questions. For those of you who have not joined in with us before, my name is Traci Madsen. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and certified behavior consultant. I live in Utah. I'm lucky enough to live in the same state as the Pupford home base, which is super exciting because I get to go down there a lot and film videos and visit and everything else. So super cool. Hey, Julie, how are you? So I'm hoping that we'll see how many people we get doing this on a Saturday. And then if we get a lot, then great. We might alternate between Wednesdays and Saturdays. Hey, Emily. For those of you guys that are new, when you join, just state your name. Depending on which platform you join from, sometimes it just says Facebook user. Julie and Emily, your name comes up. But if it says Facebook user, then just give me your name and the state that I can enter you in the drawing for the free bag of train treats. So I apologize for Wednesday. Just out of curiosity, did you guys try to log on Wednesday, or did you see my post that we weren't going to have it Wednesday? I was totally planning on having it Wednesday. And so Tuesday I got my vaccine, and Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, I went to my first client, started to not feel good, had to cancel my second. Oh, good, you saw the post. Canceled my second client. I thought, okay, well, I'll be fine doing Q&A because I'll just, all I have to do is sit here. And oh my gosh, I got so sick that I couldn't even function. So, but Emily, did you see the post that, the post on Facebook that said that I was going to postpone it till Saturday? Because I just didn't want a lot of people waiting around for it to start and wondering like where I was. Anyway, oh good. So yeah, Julie saw it. I apologize. I never cancel unless but I was so sick. I actually went to bed right after I posted that and slept for 14 hours. And that, like, I never do that. I'm like a 7 or 8 hour sleep person. And then the next morning I didn't feel very good. And then by 12 o'clock, it's like by noon, I was like perfectly normal again. So it must just be, this was my first vaccine because I had COVID, so I had antibodies for a long time. I didn't really know what to expect. Everybody that I talked to said, oh yeah, I wasn't sick. My arm was just sore. And so I thought, oh yeah, I'll be fine. Oh my gosh, I was not fine. So anyway, I apologize. I really wanted to do it and I hate canceling. That is like my pet peeve. I did not want to cancel, but there's no way I could have made it through. I was like brain fog and tired and everything else. So anyway, that's why we're doing it today. And I'm doing much better. I'm debating whether, oh, hi, Karen. Actually, I am feeling better now. It was just last Wednesday when we were supposed to do the live, I had just had my vaccine the day before. So I got really sick the next day. So, which happened to be the live Q&A day. So I am totally better now. I am debating kind of whether to get the second shot because I'm like, oh man, I was so sick after the first one. I don't know if I want to get the second one, but I probably will. What I did is they give it 3 weeks after, and I blocked myself out the next day so that I don't have to work the next day, just in case. So anyway, how's everybody doing? And I hope that you're all coming with your questions. I didn't realize that when I postponed this, that it was going to be on September 11th. So just kind of a shout out to all of our, first responders, military. I have a good friend who's also a dog trainer, and she went back to Ground Zero and with her dog and looked for bodies. And so she had a really nice post today with the dog that she was working at the time is no longer alive. But yeah, she was actually back there as one of the dog teams doing that. She does a lot of, she does search and rescue, bomb work, like all kinds of stuff. So yeah, she was back there. So kind of a surreal day today. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well, and especially Julie and you other ones that live in New York. It probably really hits home a lot more to you guys than it does to us. We saw it on I saw it on TV on the news, and you guys lived through it. So I actually did. I've only been to New York once, and while we were there, we did visit Ground Zero, and we did get to see all that, and it was like the most surreal thing. So, and at the time they were building the new tower, and I can't remember what it was called now. Julie, you might have to remind me. But it was under construction when we visited. So anyway, I'm really glad I got to see that. So anyway, trying to think of like what to talk about. Oh, I do know. Because let me switch over to my email really quick. Natalie asked me to talk about a topic on the live. Best way to potty train outside the home. So that came from Anthony Figueroa that joins us a lot on our lives. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Hi, Nicole. I'm going to go ahead and answer that, and then hopefully if Anthony doesn't join in time, he can go back and read or listen to the recording. Nicole, yes, I am. It was the weirdest thing. I was telling these other guys, I got my vaccine. That morning I went to work, started feeling sick, had to cancel my afternoon. Thought I'd be okay to just do a live. Definitely wasn't. And so I had to cancel. And then the next morning I felt not great, but I went to work. And then by noon I was like totally back to normal. So yeah, thank you. I am better. Julie, One World Trade Center. Oh, okay. Yep. I didn't know that. For some reason I was thinking Freedom Tower or something like that. I couldn't remember. Okay, so Facebook user, yes, I will answer your question. I'm going to go back and answer Anthony's question. And if you can see the chat, and if it just says Facebook user, please tell me your name and where you're from so I can enter you in the drawing. Because I don't know, like some of the platforms, your name does come up, but on the other one it doesn't. So Anthony's question was best way to potty train your dog outside of the home. That's a great question. I've actually done that a lot because I travel with one of my, well, I don't travel very much, but when I do, and I go down to my mom's house a lot, and I always have a dog with me. So what I do is when I go to a new person's house, like my mom's, at first I always keep an eye on my dog, especially Jade, because Jade is a marker, and Jade will mark. especially if there are other dog smells or other things in the house. So I will keep an eye on her. And then the first thing when we get there is I always take her or take my dogs to the back door and open the door and tell her to go outside and go potty so that she knows what door to go out and where to go potty in the yard. And then I let her back in. And when I'm in somebody else's house, I don't like to just let my dogs roam all over. And I like to keep an eye on them and supervise them because I don't know what they're getting into or if they're pottying somewhere. Now they're pretty good about, if they do need to go, they'll go to the back door because they know like what door I've taken them to. So that's kind of how I do it. And about depending on how old the dog is. Now, if it's a puppy, I would probably tether the dog to me just so they can't have an accident, or kind of supervise and go out every hour, hour and a half. Go through the same door, say go potty, go walk around, and then reward. So it's almost like starting over with potty training, but you do it in a new place, and the same rules kind of apply. So it's like, supervise, let them out frequently, things like that. So that's basically what I do. And honestly, my dogs have not, I don't think that any of them have ever had an accident at my mom's house. My mom's one of those, like, she loves my dogs because she has to, because she's grandma, but she's one of those like really neat freaks. And I would be mortified if one of my dogs pottied in her house. I did take Willy Wonka down there once. I had no choice. And Willy Wonka's my foster and he's incontinent. And I believe I had to pick him up from physical therapy, and then got word that my mom had been in a car accident. So I canceled my afternoon and just went straight down to Salt Lake. I didn't spend the time to go back and take Willy Wonka home. And so he was just with me. And, it's not his fault, but he ended up, pottying on my mom's rug. So we cleaned it up really good. But with him, it's hard because he can't tell when he has to go, and then he just goes. And so even though I had taken him out when we first got there, he still kind of had an accident. But that's kind of an extreme case. So yeah, whenever I'm at somebody else's house, and if I'm at somebody's house and they're like, oh yeah, bring your dog, that dog does not leave my side. I keep the dog on a leash next to me all the time, just so I can supervise them and not let anything happen. Another thing too is some people's houses are not dog proof, and I don't want my dogs to like get in medication or get into something that they're not supposed to, have an accident. They could have kids or grandkids that don't know how to act around dogs. I just got a call this morning from a girl whose Rottweiler bit her younger brother in the face. And they think it was just due to resource guarding, maybe resource guarding something. So I just don't like to let my dogs go unsupervised in somebody else's house. And that's just kind of a safety thing. But anyway, yeah, that's how I would do it, is tether and then frequent potty breaks, show them what door, and then reward them for pottying outside. One thing to remember too is if you are in a new place, especially like, let's say you move and you have like a new house. Well, the dog hasn't yet learned that is like their new living space and their new like domain. And so you almost have to teach them all over again where you want them to go potty, and to teach them, okay, this is where you live now. This is your living space, and you don't want to soil where you live. So I've been in the same house for over 30 years. So I've never had to do this. However, I have had dogs and foster dogs and taken in dogs where they were, surrendered and been potty trained. But then when I take them home, it's not their home, so to speak. So to them, it's like, oh, we can potty wherever we want because this isn't where we live. And so we kind of had to go through an initial phase of interrupting, taking them out frequently, showing them the door to use, or in my case, teaching them how to use the doggy door, and it up a lot faster. So it's not like you have to go through the whole potty training thing all over again. But just, kind of going through that, the initial part of it, and then they pick it up. It's really interesting to me that every board and train puppy that I bring home, they always learn to use the dog door, and they do it by watching my dogs. So I take them out and walk around with them and tell them to go potty and reward them for doing that, because part of what people pay me to do is potty train, because they don't want to go through the whole getting up at night and potty train and crate train and stuff like that. So I do that part for them. But when puppies are there, they will see my dogs go through the dog door, and they'll go through the dog door. They don't necessarily know that they need to go through the door to go potty, but they follow my dogs in and out, like to play and stuff. And then there's one little French bulldog that stays with me a lot, and he's actually now learned, like, first thing in the morning when I let him out, he runs right to the back door. Like he knows that he needs to go through the back door and go potty. So anyway, that's how I would do it. Okay. Oh, Freedom. Yeah, so I was right. I remembered hearing Freedom Tower. Okay, let's see. Let's go back, because I think I missed a question. Okay, can you please tell us if there are any activities to boost confidence for your dog? Yes. So I like to do enrichment or games that can help with confidence. So things like shaping games. So there's one called 101 Things to Do with a Box. And you can probably Google that and find it, or if you want to email me, I'm happy to send it to you. And what it is it's a shaping game, and there's no wrong answer. So you just get a big box, like an Amazon box, Chewy box. I remember when I did it with one of my dogs, I used a paper, like the box that paper comes in. You want it big enough to where your dog can fit in it. But then you click and treat for any interaction the dog has. So if the dog looks at the box, click treat. And I always like throw the treat in the box. And then if they walk over to the box, click treat. If they sniff the box, click treat. After a few times of doing that, I'll just be like, oh, you got to give me something more. What else you got? And I'll just kind of wait and see what the dog does. And they'll start to experiment, like, okay, well, what can I do to make the clicker go off? And so they may paw at the box, and then I click treat. And I've done this until my dog gets all the way in the box. So again, there's no wrong answers, but you can say, oh, you've done that like 3 times. So what else can you do? And just let the dog figure it out, work it out, and anything different, anything new, you can click and treat. So that's one of my favorites. I like to do nose work. So I do a lot of snuffle mat work, but for gaining confidence, I like to do the find it game. So I will save the smaller boxes, my smaller Amazon boxes, and and even my Pupford boxes. When I order treats and stuff, I order in bulk because I go through a lot with my clients, between my clients and my own dogs. So I'll start with 3 boxes, and I'll put a piece of cheese or hot dog or bacon or something really smelly in one box. And then I have 2 empty boxes. Then I bring the dog out and I'll say, find it. And the dog has to sniff the boxes, and you can tell when they get the box that has the food in it, because they'll like stop, like their nose will stop, and some will like paw at it, and then I'd be like, oh, good job, and then open the box and let them have it. And then as they get better at it, I'll add more boxes. So I'll start with 3, and then I'll do 4, and then 6, and then 8. I usually don't do more than 8. But that's really good confidence, because then, if you say find it, they've got to sniff the boxes and figure out where the food is. And then when they find it, they get the food. Another one that's really good enrichment is, we used to do this in at the rescue that I worked at all the time. So we used to save like our cereal boxes, cracker boxes, any kind of cardboard box. And I would have the whole staff like bring in Kleenex boxes, like whatever you have. And what we would do is we would smear peanut butter on one side. You can do like baby food, peanut butter, low-fat cream cheese, pumpkin. And then we would like toss in some pieces of treat, and then tape the other end closed. And then we like poke it with a fork and then give it to the dog and let them shred it. It is a mess to clean up. The staff did not like me very much, because they're like, it makes such a mess. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not about you. It's about the dogs. And the dogs really have a good time, like trying to get what's inside. They get to shred. They get to like figure out how to open the box. They get to lick the peanut butter out. But it's like problem solving for them. So whenever a dog does problem solving and has to figure out how to get something out or find something, it can also help increase confidence. And anytime, in my opinion, just doing, basic training can help a dog with confidence, because especially like when they do something and then they hear that marker, which leads to a reward, that's fun for them, and it gives them confidence. It's like, oh my gosh, look what I did. I just did this and I got rewarded for it. So, hey, Renee. So I would, just do all of those things. And I think all of that, any of those is going to be really good. Teaching tricks, like shaping tricks, like shaping a rollover, shaping a shake or a high five. The reason I like shaping games is because you break it up, and every little increment you reward the dog for. So like when I'm teaching, like say rollover, I will first I'll do it down first, and then I will go like nose to hip, click and treat, nose to hip, click and treat. And then I'll go a little bit farther till the dog kind of rolls over, click and treat. And then we do that till we go all the way over. So you take that and just break it up. But the dog gets rewarded for every little piece of that. And then that's all just confidence building. So yeah, that's a really good question. I'll give you a really good example. And I probably didn't go about this the right way. I was not a trainer at the time. But when I adopted Hallie, which was my dog that I rescued from the Michael Vick dog fighting case, she was very, very shy. And we got asked to do a lot of public events, fundraisers, things like that. And she would be terrified, tail tucked, super shy. Luckily, I also had Tacoma, who was very confident, and Hallie loved him. And Hallie did a lot of things that she like if it would have just been me taking her, she would have pancaked. Like there's no way she would have even walked on a leash. I would have had to carry her into every event we went to. But because Tacoma was with her, I actually have a picture of them. I'll show you. Because Tacoma was with her, she would be like, he was kind of like her safety blanket, so to speak. And so she would go, still tail tuck, but she could like meet people. They could pet her, everything else. Now looking back on it, I think sometimes we may have like flooded, where you just, like all these people are wanting to pet her and say hi. And I did kind of limit it to like, please don't swarm her and just, like one at a time, come say hi to her. But what I noticed is that she was always super shy at the event. But then when we got home, she was like a different dog. She would walk in the door and all of a sudden her tail would wag. She'd get the zoomies. And it's almost like, oh my gosh, I just did this really hard thing. And it's like she was so proud of herself. And she was like so excited that she did this. And it was a big confidence boost for her. So I didn't mind doing these events, even though, she was a little bit afraid of it at first. It just increased her confidence every time she did it. I'm going to show you a picture of them really quick. I'm in my office today. So this, let's see if I can get it on the right light. So this is Hallie. She was the first dog from Best Friends to be adopted out from the Michael Vick case. And then this was Tacoma. He was the very first pit bull that I ever rescued. They both came from Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, and they went everywhere together. Like Hallie wouldn't go anywhere without Tacoma. So it was really good having both of them at the same time. Okay, so great question on building confidence. It's really, really important. Okay. Cynthia, games for getting eye contact. We seem to have regressed with this. German wire hair pointer hunting dog gets distracted with birds. Okay, so the first thing I do is I will capture eye contact. So so Jade, my dog, is going through service dog training. And even so, just today we were practicing in Walmart, and it was a different Walmart that she's only been in one other time, and she gets super distracted. So every single time she would look at me, I would click and treat. I use a clicker, and the reason I like using the clicker, especially in a distracting environment, is then, or let's say she's walking nicely and not trying to sniff everything on the ground, then I would click. And when she hears the click, she's like, oh, I heard it. Where's my treat? So that's why I use the clicker. But anytime we would walk and she would like check in with me, give me eye contact, click, treat. I do it every single time. Another way that I do it is, let me find a treat, is I will like take a treat and hold it out to the side. And the dog can look at it, can jump at it, can bark at it, can whine, and I totally ignore them and I wait until the dog looks at me. Like, okay, why are you not giving this to me? What do you want? And they'll eventually look at you like kind of out of frustration, like, what? Why are you not giving this to me? And the second they look at me, instead of the treat, I click and treat. I click and give it to them. And then I do it on the other side. It's like, oh, what if I put it over here? Can you pay attention if it's over here? And I wait them out. And I wait for them to look at me. And then I click and treat. Here, Jade, you can have that. And then I'll use something else like, oh, look, I have this thing of spray cheese. Or I have your favorite toy. Like, oh, I have your toy. Like, if I hold this over here, can you pay attention? And I'll make it like harder and harder. And as soon as they look at me, they get the treat. Not necessarily the toy or the spray cheese, but they will get a good treat for looking at me. And that's another reason I like the clicker, is because it's fast and it just marks right the behavior. And since I carry a treat pouch, it's easy for me to just have a clicker in my hand. And the second the dog gives me eye contact, click, treat. So my dogs have done it so much that it doesn't matter what I put out, like high, low, whatever, they will look at me. But they know that as a training exercise, when we're in public and we're practicing, it is harder, because Jade is almost like, oh my gosh, we're at Disneyland. Like, there's so many smells and there's so many things, and it's harder for her to focus. So that's one reason why I capture it, and I reward her every single time she checks in with me, or even every time she just walks and isn't trying to sniff everything on the floor and the shelves. So, and then once you can hold it out to, either side and do, different things like their toys or food or whatever, then I start to name it. So I actually don't name it until the dog is consistently giving me eye contact. Because if you're out and you're saying like, Rover, watch me, Rover, watch, or whether you say, look at me or watch me, if your dog is distracted, then they're learning to tune out the cue, watch me. Does that make sense? So they're hearing watch me, but they're actually kind of getting rewarded for ignoring you because they're focused on other things. So I don't like to name it until the dog's doing it. So I will like play this game where I hold things out, hold, different objects, different whatever. And then when the dog is consistently like, okay, I know when I look at you, I get rewarded, then I add the verbal cue, which for me is watch me. And so I did this with a client's dog who would get super, he was dog aggressive, but he was also super high prey drive. And whenever we would go out and practice, he would get really, really distracted by birds and squirrels. And so whenever we would pass by a tree and we could hear a squirrel or see a bird, we did have to work a lot on eye contact, but then I would say, Ghost, watch me. And he would, as soon as he would look at me, I'd click and treat. You can also kind of use it as a reward. So depending, and I don't know how to train bird dogs, so let me just say that right now. But one thing we did with this other dog is, since I knew he couldn't get in the tree and catch a chipmunk or a bird, we kind of used what's called the Premack principle. And so if he would, instead of like, barking and pulling towards the tree and trying to get at him, if he would sit and wait and show some impulse control and focus on me, then I would say, okay, go sniff. And I would let him actually go to the tree and, engage, like, so to speak. And I wouldn't have done that had I thought there was any chance that he would be able to grab the squirrel or the bird. They were up high, and, he can't climb trees, and I had him on a leash. But it was rewarding for him, because he knew that if he sat and waited and gave me eye contact, then I would let him go try and catch the bird, or he was allowed to like jump up on the tree, like interact, try to catch it. And I would let him do that for like 30 seconds. And then I'd say, okay, let's go. And then we would go. So depending on how you train your hunting dog, if your dog gives you eye contact, then you can say like, okay, go sniff, or okay, go hunt, or whatever you want to do. So that if your dog does what you want him to do, like either focus in on you, eye contact, put him on a long line and then let him go chase a bird for a second, just as long as he doesn't like catch and kill the bird. But usually the birds can fly away fast enough, or they're up in a tree. And so The dog still kind of gets to be a dog and like go after the birds, but they don't catch them. So you could try that too. So then your dog is more likely to give you eye contact. Then you can kind of build up. It's like, okay, you've got to give me eye contact 5 times in a row, and then I'll let you go chase a bird. And then 10 times in a row, and then you can go chase a bird. So then you start to raise the criteria. Does that make sense? So you can use something that the dog really likes and gets distracted with and use that to your advantage and get the dog to do what you want first, and then use that as a reward. And it's worked really well. So, okay, Nicole. Speaking of scent work, I found some different scents on Amazon for dog training. Do you have any suggestions, experience for possibly using these for my pups? Yes. So I think I have my kit here. Hang on. It just so happens sorry, I'm spilling everything and scaring my dog. Sorry, Jade. So I'll tell you what I do with my dog. But when I started doing nose work with one of my former dogs, I bought a scent kit. So does yours look kind of like this? We have clove, myrrh, anise, birch, vetiver. I don't even know what vetiver is. And then it comes with these little tins or little bottles. And what I do is, so you can take the dropper. So let's say, and you can also, so there's oils, and then there's these like little Q-tip things. So you can use the Q-tips, or you can, I can't even get the oils out. Or you can use the oils with the dropper and just take a drop out and put it like on a cotton ball or something. Then you can put it in a tin like this. So you can just put the little cotton swab in here. And verbena. Why is mine spelled? Is vetiver and verbena the same thing? Huh. Anyway, you put it in here with it just open just a little bit. And then I will start with the same thing that I do with the hot dog and the cheese. And I'll put it in one box. And as soon as the dog hits on the scent, then I click and treat. And then you can add more boxes and more boxes. Then you can do things like, they're not Tupperware, but they're like those plastic organizers that have all the drawers. So then you can start to like hide it in the back of a drawer and tell your dog like, find it or search or whatever you want, and have them sniff each drawer. And then it's really interesting because dogs will kind of like stop, like they'll stop and hit on a drawer. And as soon as they do, then you can like click. And then depending on the dog, sometimes we'll use treats, or sometimes we'll use a Kong or a rope toy and reward them for finding it. And then we just add in boxes and add in drawers and make it bigger. Some of the more advanced dogs, they would use things like this with like a magnet on it, and we would put it under cars or put it on various places around the car hidden, and take the dog around the car. And then when they hit on it, we would reward them for that. So it's really fun. I mean, it's really, really fun to do. Another thing that I've been doing with Jade, because she's in training to detect migraines. And so when I feel a migraine coming on, also when you handle stuff like this, you want to make sure that you wear gloves that are not scented. So what I do is I have to wash my hands with unscented soap, because you want the dog to hit on the scent and not your scent. You want them to find the like the sage or the clove or whatever. So you have to wash your hands with unscented soap or wear gloves that are unscented. And then I put cotton rolls in my mouth, get them like soaked in saliva, and then I put them in baggies, and then Tupperware and freeze them. And that's what we use for scent. And then what I do is I put the cotton roll in this, and I will do the same thing with the 3 boxes. And then I'll bring Jade in and I'll say, find it. And she'll like start to smell the boxes, and then she'll stop when she smells something different, or she'll hit on the scent. And then I reward her for finding the scent. And then I start to add in more boxes, more boxes, more boxes. Then I start to, this is kind of where we are now. We're at this stage, which is a lot harder. Like I will have the scent like this, and I will hide it in a pocket or like somewhere on my body, and see if she can hit on it. And then if she does, she gets rewarded. And so that she starts learning to recognize that scent like on me, because that's how dogs can detect like, cancer and diabetes and seizures and stuff. It's by like changes in your body that happen. So, yeah, doing nose work is super fun. And you can just do it for fun. Another thing you can do is, take a sock and stick it in a box, and then have like 6 boxes and have your dog hit, because they're going to like hit on the scent that's different than anything else. So these, I know there's a reason that they use these particular scents. And I'm not sure exactly why, but I use these kind of to start with. And then, we use these when I was at the rescue, because we would do it as enrichment for some of the dogs. So we would do nose work and use those like the, plastic organizers with the drawers and things like that. So we also made some things out of like PVC pipe. And I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like the round ones. And then there was a base. And so there was a place where we could hide the scent, and then we'd start with 3, and the dog would have to stick his nose in. And then as soon as he hit on that one, we would like click and toss a treat up like through the pipe. So when they hit on the scent, a treat would come up. You can get really creative with doing nose work, but it's super fun. Like it's really fun. And for the Facebook user that asked, that is another really good way to build confidence, is just do easy nose work. You can hide, like when we did search and rescue work, we would go outside and I would take a sock and hide it behind a tree or a bush. And then I would bring the dog out, put him in a sit, and then I would say like search. And then he would go out and start to zigzag and work in, because usually scent goes out this way. And so you can see the dog zigzag, and then it gets narrower and narrower until they hit on it. And then they find it. So it's so much fun, and you can do it with anything. So yeah, great question. And it probably would be really good for moose. I mean, it's good for any dog. Some dogs do better at it, like, working dogs, shepherds do really well. Dogs that are meant for nose work, hounds, things like that. They also do these thing called barn hunts for some terriers and like Jack Russell terriers. Jade's really good. Jade's always sniffing. Like she always has her nose to the ground, which has been really tough when doing service dog work for her because she is just always trying to smell stuff. But they do these barn hunts where you go to a barn where it's filled with hay and straw, and they have a mouse. Okay, now I made sure these, even though I hate mice, the mice are not harmed. They are in some tubing. They're safe. The dogs can't get to them, and they can breathe. So there's like, air holes and everything like that. But they will hide the tube amongst all of this hay and straw, and then they'll release the dog and let the dog go try to find the mouse through all of the hay and straw. And so that's another game. I've never tried it. I've always wanted to. But yeah, that would be really fun to do as well. This is great. This is turning into a nose work Q&A, but I love it because I really do miss doing nose work other than what I'm doing with her for me, but sometimes it's not the same. I did volunteer to go hide for a friend who's just starting a brand new search dog. And so, hiding and letting the dog come find you is always really fun too. So anyway, okay, Nicole, I haven't bought one yet. There was one that looked like that and one that had like beanbag looking stuff. Yeah, I don't know what the beanbag stuff would look, which one that one was. This one I think was like 45 or 50 bucks, but you don't even have to spend that much. Like you could use anything. I mean, you can buy those little tins. I bought the little tins from Amazon. And then I also bought some of those little bottles with the cork that goes in it. And they're pretty cheap. You could even get that and then just put something in it, like a piece of cheese, a hot dog, anything like that has a strong scent, and let your dog search for it. And again, you can hide pieces of clothing, like go out in your backyard, especially if you have trees and bushes, hide an article of clothing and have your dog go search for it. And sometimes I would actually play tug with the item. So if the dog was looking for a sock and they found the sock, I would play with the sock and let them tug and like reward them for that. If you don't want them to tug on your socks and stuff like that, I actually had a separate bag of search articles that I didn't care if they got ruined. But you can use stuff like that, or you can use like scents like this as well. So Nicole, Wilma, I'll do some, but Moose really likes to smell stuff. Oh yeah, if he's a German Shepherd dog mix husky, he probably really likes to do that. So yeah, it's fun, and it's really good enrichment for dogs. It gets them using their brain and their nose, and super rewarding. So I would do it. There's gotta be books out on scent work and doing that kind of stuff. Hey, Danny. Oh, it's morning over there. I'm glad you could join us. I'm just writing your name down. So there's got to be books and stuff, but it's really not that hard. If you're just doing it for fun, you really can't screw it up. So yeah. And if you get a kit and you need help, just email me and I'm happy to help you. I don't know everything about it. I just know like kind of what I've done. And I'm working with a trainer with Jade on the migraine detection stuff. And I'm learning a lot from her on how to do this kind of branch of it. So, but it's fun. Okay. Do we have any other questions? questions. I'm going to go back through just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, guys, you got to give me your questions. Usually we go for like an hour and a half. I'm happy to let everybody go today. Look what I did this week. I ran over my water bottle. Luckily, it was not my red Pupford water bottle. I would have been devastated, but this was my second favorite one. And I ran over it with my car. So, like, sometimes I just don't pay attention and then stuff happens. Oh, Julie, I passed over one of yours. Your pups went to the groomers for the first time and did great. That's awesome. Did you do a lot of handling and stuff before they went? I had a puppy board and train with me last weekend, and one thing his owner wanted me to work on was bathing, trimming nails, and brushing, because the dog wouldn't let his owner brush. He did let me brush, or she let me brush. So, but just doing a lot of handling, even if you don't want to do the nails, like, you can grab your dog's nails and just like flick them with your nail just to get them used to having their nails touched is fine. But that's great that they did good. Good job. Okay. Oh, so you did do a lot of good. Oh, you're brave. So you've given them baths yourself and did your nails. Perfect. And that's really good, because the more exposure you can give to your dogs, the better. I had a dog that you could give him a bath and stuff, but oh my gosh, if you tried to touch his ears or his nails, he turned into a dinosaur with his like wanting to bite. But it was fear, like he was scared. He did not like to be handled. So good job on that. Nicole, Wilma goes tomorrow to perform her tricks for the AKC Novice Trick Dog. Oh, that's awesome. So I just had to recertify for my AKC Canine Good Citizen Evaluator thing. And we had to, I guess they've added a tricks certification, because I've never had to test on that before. And this time I had to answer questions on like the trick stuff, and I had to look it up because I honestly didn't know that they did that. But that's really cool. I do teach a little bit of like some tricks in my puppy classes and to Jade, but just kind of more for fun. But I know there's a lot of people that do some really in-depth tricks, which is cool. So Nicole, you'll have to send me a video. If you can video that, I would love to see it. So, because I'm just interested in it, and kind of see what you do and what it looks like. I am embarrassed to say that I probably have 2 or 3 books on teaching dog tricks, and I have not gone through any of them. It's always like, oh, this will be fun, and I could do this during COVID, and I end up not doing it. Yeah, if you can, send me a video. I would love to see that. That's awesome that you're doing that. Okay. Oh, you know what, Julia? I don't blame you. In the winter, I will send my dogs to the groomers just for a bath and brush. But in the summer, I bathe them outside in the swimming pool, because I don't like all the hair in my bathtub either. Renee, Peyton doesn't mind others doing her nails, not so much for us doing it. Yeah, I had that same experience. My dog, the one that didn't like to be handled, I could do 1 nail a day if I was lucky. And I had to go really slow and give a lot of treats. But when he would go to the groomers, like, they would really take their time and go slow with him, and they could do nail trims with him. I was never able to do a full nail trim with him. So yeah, sometimes dogs, the other thing I've noticed too is sometimes dogs kind of know how to play us. Like if I scream or freak out, then mom will stop. And I don't believe in forcing a dog to do anything. So yeah, they kind of get our number and they can get away with a lot. So not that your dog is doing that, but I know my dog did that. Okay, Danny, my 13-month-old Labradoodle, when off leash, comes back all the time. That's awesome. Because my own dog doesn't come back all the time. Once I get the leash out to leave, she comes back, but not close enough to leash her. She stays close, but not close enough. That is common. So what I do when I teach a recall for dogs like that, they come close enough, and then you go to grab them, they bolt. So what I do is when I'm practicing, I practice on leash, and then when they come in, and I have the leash already on them, so like I'm reeling them in, once they get to me, I ask them to sit, I grab their collar, and then I treat. And then I'll say, okay, go play. And then I let them go play again. And we do that over and over. But every single time they come, I ask for a sit and I grab their collar. Let me see if I can actually, Jade's asleep, but let me see if I can wake her up and show you kind of what I do. She heard the treat bag. Let's see, can you guys see her? So we'll just I'm going to throw a treat over there to get her to move away. Go find it. Go find it. And then I'll say, Jake, come. Sit. And then I'll reach out, grab her collar. Can you see that? Kind of. I'll grab her collar and then treat. Jake, here. Sit. Oh, come on, sit. Sit. Grab her collar and then treat. So I get her used to having her collar grabbed every single time. And then after I treat her, a lot of times, then I'll release her again to go play. First, we're doing it on leash so that I can reel her in, grab her collar, treat, go play. And then when she gets really good at that, then I'll do it off leash. Do the same thing, like have her come. You can also do something like have her come and hand target. So that way, if the recall for your dog is like I come and touch, so I come and hand target, then like grab the collar, treat, and then say, okay, go play. So in the dog's mind, it's like I come, I touch, I get a treat, and then I get to go play again. So it's not a punishment, because if the dog thinks, well, I don't want to come because they're just going to put a leash on me and take me, out of the dog park, or take me, out of my play session, then coming to you becomes negative, and we don't want that. We don't want the dog to associate it with negative. So what I tell people is, if you're in the dog park, or if you're doing something really fun, you don't want come to ever be negative. So it's better to just go get the dog and not use a recall. Or sometimes I'll use a different word. So I'll say, hey, let's go this way, over here, or time to go. But I always want COME to be super positive. And then in the dog's mind, I want it to be like, oh, I come over to mom, I get rewarded, and then I get to go play again. And so, and then at other times, like they'll come, I'll have her sit, grab her collar, put her leash on, give her a treat, and then try to still make it really fun. Like, oh, okay, we're going to go to the car now. And not a negative thing like, oh, sorry, you can't play. We're not playing anymore. We're going home. Does that make sense? But every time you do a recall, I would get your dog used to having her collar grabbed every single time. just so she gets used to that. And then that just becomes part of the recall. I come, I sit, she touches my collar, and sometimes I get to go back and play. And then sometimes I sit, she grabs my collar, I get leashed, then I get treats, so that it doesn't end with something negative, it ends with something good. I get treats and then try it that way. But I would almost start the recall over with a long line so that you can reel her in, grab her collar, treat, and then say, okay, go play. And then let her go play again with the long line attached. So then when you call her again, you can pick up the long line, reel her in, close enough to where then she can sit, you can grab her collar, treat, release her. That's what I would do. Yeah, dogs get really smart. I had a client whose dog did that. Her dog would come and sit, but far enough away that when she would reach for him, he would bolt. So we had to start over and do it with a leash on, have the dog drag the leash so that we could reel the dog in close enough to like grab the collar every single time. And now he does much better. So it's just become part of, like, that's part of the recall, to have your collar touched and the leash put on. Oh, and maybe I just went through all of that because I didn't read. Oh, no, I was reading a different question. I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't even answer the right question. Yeah, so I did read it right. Yeah, that's what I would do. I was looking at Nicole's and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't even answer the right question. Okay, so Nicole says, next week I will probably be getting my sister's dog for some training. Unfortunately, she uses a choke collar. I won't use it. Good job. She claims to use it because he eats all his collars. Do you have any suggestions on collars? Yeah, I don't know why, like, how does he get at it? If it's tight enough, like, I don't know physically how. If a collar is around a dog, how does he even get to it to eat it unless it's too big? Does that make sense? Let me show you Jade's. I use a freedom harness. Jade, come here. I use a freedom harness, but this is a martingale. I don't think you can see it very good with this camera. This has the martingale that this is where I hook the leash to. And so she can't slip out of it. But if you can see, like, there's no way she can get her mouth to her collar to chew it. Like, I don't see that is even, thank you, sweetheart. I don't see how that's even possible. So I would say that if the dog is eating the collar, it's not fitted right. Because I don't see how a dog could chew a collar unless another dog is chewing it. So I have had, like, when my dogs play, I'll go outside and notice, oh, 2 of my dogs are missing their collar. And it's because they play and they get it off and they actually pull it off. But luckily with mine, they don't chew it. But if she's doing it for that reason, I know a lot of people that just take the collar off. Like, their dog does not wear a collar when at home or in the yard and they're playing. They don't wear a collar. I mean, they're microchipped, so if something happens, they're chipped. But that way it can't get caught. Another dog can't chew it off. And then when they go somewhere, then they put the harness on. So I kind of do that with my harnesses just because, my dogs like play really rough, and I have a puppy staying with me right now. And so I don't want him like chewing on their harnesses. So I leave them off until we're ready to go. Jade has a collar on with her ID all the time because she likes to jump the fence. And now she's supervised all the time because I don't want her to jump the fence, but just in case, I want her ID on her. But yeah, I honestly don't know how a dog could eat his collar if it's on correctly. Unless she takes it off and sets it down somewhere to where the dog can eat it. And that's an easy fix, is just put the collar up and put it where the dog can't get to it. So I would ask your sister, like, how on earth is your dog chewing on the collar? Now, that martingale, actually the one that I had before for Jade, the martingale part was a chain. And the reason I stopped using that is because it looked too much like a choke collar. And everybody around here knows I'm a trainer, and I didn't want somebody to think that I was using a choke collar when in reality it was not a choke collar. But it's all material, and the martingale part was chain, and that's where the leash attaches. So if the dog is somehow able to get his mouth down, this part's going to be chain. I got it from Amazon, so you could look on Amazon martingales, and you'll see the part that's chain. So you could try that. Other than that, I don't really know of any other kinds of collars that a dog's not going to chew. But again, I don't know how the dog would be able to chew it anyway. So I'd be interested to know the answer to that one. That's your homework, is find out from your sister how her dog is able to chew a collar if it's fitted right. I don't see how it's possible. Okay, Nicole, I'll do my best to video. If not, I'll send you the video of me doing push-ups and Wilma doing puppy push-ups besides me. Oh, that'd be cool. I do know how to do push-ups with dogs. In fact, that is one of our we do puppy push-up contests in puppy class, but I just do like sit down, sit down, sit down. It's not like they're standing down, stand down. I haven't done that, but that would be a good one too. But yeah, if you can videotape it, that would be awesome. Okay, Karen, we stopped in at the groomers yesterday just for a meet and greet. Awesome. I love it when people do that. Gave lots of treats, put her up on the table and made it a party, no grooming involved. Perfect. I know a lot of people had a hard time doing that during COVID because groomers and vets weren't letting dogs just come in for happy visits. But now that it's laxing a little bit, I guess depending on where you live, you're able to do that now, and it helps so much. So in my puppy classes, I actually do a thing called Meet the Uniform. So this Monday, I have my friend who is a deputy sheriff come in uniform, and he goes around and pets all the dogs, gives them treats. And then 1 week I have a groomer come, and 1 week I have a veterinarian come. And so the dogs, meet different uniforms, they get handled, they get used to stethoscopes, grooming tools, things like that. So doing happy visits at groomers is great. My 5-month-old Australian copper dog loved it. I also do lots of touching every part of her body. Perfect. That's one of the things that we do in puppy class too, is we do like lots of handling. Like I will have people actually stick their fingers in their dog's ear, treat. Put their finger over their dog's teeth, treat. Touch paws, treat. Touch tail, treat. And it makes a lot of difference. This is the first time this has ever happened where I have 4 dogs that will all let me do their nails and brush their teeth. I have one that doesn't love it, but it's a work in progress, and she's getting much better at it. So yeah, if you can do that. And the other thing too is it makes it so much less stressful on your dog when they have to go to the vet or the groomers. Because I can tell you, my dog Piglet, it was traumatic for him. Do I have a picture of him? I know I do, but it's just not in my office. I need to get a picture of him up here. It was traumatic for him every time he had to go to the vet or the groomers. He was scared to death. He would get nippy. And it's because early in his life, he didn't get handled. And when it was abusively, not by me, but it was just a traumatic event for him every single time we went. So yeah, you can make it so much easier on your dog by doing this. Yep, Julie, that's the way I had to do it with my dog. And I still do that with my dogs, even though if I'm in a hurry, I'll do like all the nails on one paw treat and then one more paw treat. So, and then when we're all done, they get like a jackpot of treats. So, but yes, that's how I start is one nail, one treat, one nail treat, nail treat. Oh, Brian, hi. Brian just got back. So Brian and Renee, when I write down your names, I just put CHWAS, and then I don't spell the whole thing out. Okay, let's see. Nicole, I'm not sure if she has it tight enough or not. I would think if the dog can chew it, it's not tight enough. You want it to be snug enough that they can't slip out of it or get their mouth under to chew it, but you should be able to get like 2 fingers under there. Okay. Yeah, she only has one dog, so another dog isn't eating it. So it's got to be that it's not fitting right. I've had dogs chew stuff like Willy Wonka, my foster dog right now. Oh my gosh, he's in the worst chewing stage. He wants everything that's wood. And he can't eat hair. Like that's the only thing he hasn't chewed is his collar. So, Nicole, Wilma does sit down also. Think I'll add a stand for burpees. That would be great. That would actually be really cute. Yes, and if you guys have other ideas for uniforms that you think your dog would like, I would love more ideas. My classes are 5 weeks long, so I usually don't. There's 1 week where we don't have a uniform, and I take advantage of my friends that have uniforms. So the other reason that I have cops come, and I might have like my cousin works on the ambulance, and I may have them come one night in like their scrubs and stuff, because if law enforcement or EMS has to come to your house, and let's say you're down, like let's say you fall and break your leg, and they have to gain entry, and your dog is barking their head off. A lot of times they will ask if, oh, Karen says EMTs. Yep. Anybody that your dog, I know, right when I saw you said EMTs. Because when I worked in the ambulance, we would always say, can you secure your dog? Because going in, we don't know if the dog's aggressive or not. And especially if the owner's down, and the dog could be scared. We don't want to get bit. Law enforcement, I don't know if you saw, and it was a big rage where a police officer shot a pit bull. And the dog, I guess he felt threatened, but the dog wasn't aggressive. I don't know. I didn't read the whole story. But anyway, if you get your dog used to people in uniform, then when they show up at your house, if you're like there, then it's less likely that your dog's going to get hurt by somebody feeling threatened. Okay, so let's say, one time I was in a car accident, actually right outside my house. And so when we called EMS, I had gotten in the house, but then I couldn't get up. So I had whiplash really, really bad. And so when they came, I said, just walk in, but my dogs will not hurt you. and they came in and my dogs were fine, but it's because I'd socialized my dogs a lot. But can you imagine if law enforcement had to come in, or EMS or something like that, and your dog was not used to seeing them in uniform and like started barking? They may say, oh, we can't come in unless you secure the dog, or then they might have to call animal control to dog, and then it's stressful for the dog. So there's so many reasons why you should, introduce your dog. Also, the UPS guys, every time, if I'm home and the UPS guy comes, I have the UPS guy give my dog treats, just because then they're less likely to bark at him when he comes. And usually I'll catch them, like if I'm home and just looking out the window, they'll go over to the fence and give my dog treats. So it just helps so much, the more that you can get your dog used to people in uniform. And yeah, doctors and nurses in scrubs. Since my cousin is living with me, the one that works on the ambulance, he comes home in scrubs all the time. And so my dogs are used to him. And I have several pair from when I worked as a vet tech, and sometimes I sleep in them because they're so comfortable. I miss wearing scrubs, actually. So yeah, just anything like that would be really good for the dogs to get used to. Okay. I think we got all the questions. I'm just going to go back quickly. If you think of anything else, post it. If not, I'm going to do a drawing, and you guys can report back next Wednesday. I think we'll do another one like Wednesday night, same time, our normal time. So Nicole, I want you to let me know how the scent work goes. And the rest of you, if you do any scent work, let me know how it goes. And Nicole, we all want to know how your AKC trick dog thing goes. Let's see. It's so weird. It won't scroll unless it's on it, and then it. Okay. Okay, I think we got all the questions. So let's do a drawing really quick, and then I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks so much for joining me on a Saturday. I hated having to cancel, but I wanted to be like all mentally here. And we are working. Jade is getting a lot better at picking things up. I just haven't got her yet to pick out one piece of paper, but we are working on it. So today's winner is Renee. I don't know how to say your last name. I'm so sorry, but Renee from Illinois, you know who you are. You are today's winner of the free training treats giveaway. So you're going to email Pupford at hello@pupford.com, and then I will email them as well and let them know what flavor you want. So beef liver. In fact, Natalie did a live, and Emily won. Emily was able to name all of the flavors of the treats, and I could name them too, but I don't get to win. So, but I'm glad Emily won. So there's chicken, beef liver, sweet potato, rabbit, and salmon. There's 5, right, Emily? I think I got them all. So if there's one you haven't tried yet and want to try, you can try it. Or if you have a favorite, you can get a free bag of your favorite. So yeah, congratulations, Renee. So anyway, thank you, Karen. Yes, I I love these live Q&As too. This is actually like my favorite time of the week because I just get to like sit and talk to all you guys, and it's actually like a stress relief for me to do this. And I love working like with the clients and the dogs, kind of a highlight of my week. So thank you for joining. I love doing this too. So everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Okay, see you guys later.